It's the Fear It Go show with Brandi Taylor on the main channel of TVU. How you doing, Brandi?
Awesome!
Yay. And today is a show like no other show. It's the progression.
That's right. Because these all lead to the next thing.
That's right. Today, own it.
Ah! Owning it means empowering, taking back the power, right? So I told you I was going to do this.
You're on.
We're going to talk about something that's been going on that's all about empowerment and taking back that power that you've given over or that someone's taken. So this happens all the time on a daily basis with us. It can happen in small ways or big ways. What we've been talking about have been bigger moments, bigger moments, and how we take that power and stand. We talked last week about standing up for your beliefs, standing to a higher standard, knowing that you are worth that. And when you do want to own it. You do want to take back that power. So in moments in your life when you were disempowered, so you guys know James's story. James had a joyful experience with incarceration. You guys know some of my story. I had some incredible experiences as a kid with very disempowered situations. And it's how we own it, how we take back that power from those situations. So today, I'm actually going to ask James some questions and he's going to answer.
Awesome.
Well, yes, you are.
Awesome.
I love this. So over the last little bit, we've been talking about owning it. And when people come in and they do something that is against you and it's against the standard you now hold for yourself and all those around you, and you don't allow these things. So how do we respond when someone is doing something that does not align with the level we now hold ourselves to, right? So in business, in your personal life, in your love life, what do you do? So I'm going to start with me and then we're moving to you.
Okay.
So over the last little while, I've been dealing with some stuff in my personal life where it was really disempowered for a long period of time. And my standards have changed. The things that I accept for people to do with me, or that I don't say something, I don't stand up for myself, or whatever it is. And trust me, when I say this, so many people don't stand up for themselves. They hold the thoughts inside, they hold those shitty feelings inside, and they don't know how to move forward with that. So instead, they're angry, resentful, judging, they're actually angry, a lot of angry and resentment, right? Those typically tend to be the things we hold when we're not actually holding our own power. We're giving it up. So I was like this for a very, very long time. And over the last little while, I've done something that has created a very uncomfortable situation for myself, but also for this person. And this uncomfortable situation for me is because I'm owning it. I'm owning what was. I'm re-empowering myself, holding myself to this standard and holding them to the same. So when people want you to be accountable for your actions, but they don't hold themselves accountable for the actions in that same scenario, there's no balance and there's no empowerment of the situation. There's a disempowerment. If you hold yourself to those standards, they should too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to take back your power by, and actually this is a shift in paradigm too. It's kind of funny. It flips things on its head. So if in the situation of abuse, traumas, if I continue to behave certain ways, I can't empower that because I'm still anchored down by the behaviors linked to the trauma. Instead, I can come at this from one, loving myself and know that I'm worth so much more than that trauma, that abuse, this literally will take some training because it's not your norm. It's not your familiar, and it certainly is your habit. right? Your actions become a habit from previous experiences. Beliefs set your actions in motion, and your beliefs are subconscious. So if I really don't believe that I'm holding myself to this standard, and I can't, I won't. I can't own it. I can't flip it around. Instead, I can own it. I can own it in many different ways. I could walk away from that situation. I could find support. I could, depending on the situation, I mean, abusive relationships could go very sideways if you, what's the word I'm looking for? If you come at their perpetrator with a rebuttal, it depends how you do this, how they respond, right? Because they're used to holding all the power and they don't want you to have any. So depending on your situation, I never want to say in an abusive relationship that you confront your perpetrator alone because that is disastrous. That's a disastrous recipe. What I am saying though is get support, leave, love yourself, know that you are worth more. This is you starting to take back that power, not allowing that behavior to continue, right? Now, on the other side, once this part's done, because this is like first step, right? This is baby steps. This is moving into your power. But once you really own it, what would be the next action? What would be the next actionary step for you owning it? In a situation with abuse, let's say, owning it would mean there would be justice to this. You now have the power to do something. And what would you do with your loving heart of yourself, knowing that you are absolutely worth such great love in your life and not abuse and not someone tearing you down and not someone beating on you or whatever the abuse may be, because it comes in so many forms. What would your next step be? This is really owning it. And this is why I said I'm in the midst of something that's hard for me. It's scary because it's really out of my norm. I was used to just taking it. And now I don't. And I don't hold myself to that level anymore. And I don't hold that agreement with myself that it's okay to take it. It's not okay to take it. And it's not okay for someone to push you around verbally, emotionally, or physically, like in any of these ways. So now I'm holding that person accountable for their own behavior because now I'm owning mine. And it's not easy for someone who's been disempowered for a long time or who's accepted the disempowerment. We can choose to change this and empower ourselves. So I'm holding them accountable for their own actions, just as much as I hold myself accountable now for the actions I take, because I can choose to fall back into my default, right? To fall back into my, I can't say anything, I can't do anything, oh my God, I just have to accept this. No, you don't, ever. Never, never, never. You have to do what's right for you. And if that means holding them to the same level, because that's where you're now at and you're owning this, you're owning that power, you're taking that power back, then do it. Make sure you got good supports in place. Now, this is personal, right? This is on a very personal level, love life level sometimes. Now on a business level, yummy. How do we hold people accountable for their own actions when they severely disrupt us and our businesses? James, you've had the most incredible experience recently with exactly this. Do you want to explain?
First, I do want to say that at the beginning of the COVID interviews, I interviewed Pastor Hayes from New Beginnings Church in Edmonton. And he said, he didn't attach it as prophecy, but his basically prophesied, this is going to be one incredible journey for you, James.
Is it ever?
Thank you, brother.
Is it ever?
And then I want to talk about the context of where I'm at after, working with Brandi here with Fears Goes as a coach. So it's been sort of osmosis, her learning to reach me. But we started at a spot where, I'll summarize it, and I apologize if I'm off the exact way, but how I received it was, I'm not gonna believe the lies about me anymore.
Good.
And that's where, and then that came, the whole context of Brandi Taylor's consultancy is fear it goes. So learning that it's fear and fear alone. And you never hear, false evidence appearing real, which is all this kind of stuff, which is great. These are great acronyms, but what you get is real tactics. Okay. So the next thing that comes to my mind is, we talked about taking a space. You enter into this space where you no longer are believing the lies. These are the very first baby steps of where this comes from, and then we got into belief structures and boundaries, and not realizing that people are coming at you trying to get you constantly to believe a lie about yourself, right?
Here, take my gift. I don't want your gift.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to interject here.
Yeah, sure.
No, sorry. I'm just going to interject really quick, because this is very pertinent to what you're saying. When people are offering you an opinion that they think you need to own, okay, it's yours. It's yours to take. I think this, and you should agree with me, or you should take this, or hate, or whatever they're pumping your way is a gift they're offering. You never have to accept this gift, ever. And if you do, how many people regift their presents because they don't like them? You don't ever have to accept the gift. And if you don't accept this gift, who owns that gift? The person that tried to give it to you. You never have to own someone's opinion. Not ever, ever, ever. But we do so often take that on. And you don't really think that you're taking it on. But all of a sudden now you're like, oh, I'm doubting myself and I'm questioning this, because now you're owning what they said. You don't have to accept it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're moving past that.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And then owning it. And this is a hard one. Okay. I gotta own it.
Because it's unfamiliar.
No, but listen. First, you're set free from the lies. So coming from me, this lie about me that was perpetrated, that got me convicted, was it was always this double extreme. It was almost like, he's the fattest, skinniest guy we know. He's the laziest workaholic that we know. This kind of all-encompassing myth lie that was put out about me. And then it was actually victorious and got me convicted, right? So there you are, okay. So it's like I had to make the separation between all the misjustice, those carriages of justice that were used to convict me. And in Canada, they can do this stuff. I hate to tell you, but they can do this.
Well, they can do it all over. Think of Mandela. Think of Epstein. Think of there's.
It only teeters. It only teeters on the honor of the members of the administration of justice. Their honor is at stake, and how they get people are convicted, right? And how far they go to make people convicted. That's all I'm going to say. So there was that whole lie. But the fact that I was convicted wasn't a lie. Okay. So I was able to say, okay, I'm dumping all this lies about me, because it was.
Because it is.
It was 100% lies. And I dumped that. But the fact that I was convicted isn't a lie. Okay. So I was able to own that. And then I realized that, I served a 6-year federal sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. I was in trial for 2 years by myself, self-represented against a team
of lawyers,
of special prosecutors. Okay.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
I'm sure you did. 2 years is a long time.
Okay. You know what I also learned about? I learned about how now in retrospect, how it was all done. Right. I learned. I have a PhD in the takedown. Okay. So anyways.
Sorry, I need water.
But I dumped all that lies, but I accept that they convicted me. Okay. But I served that time.
Yeah.
And I served it with honor.
Yes, you did. You did.
Even in the investigation. Okay. I never intimidated one witness. When they came to me, I told them to cooperate. You can't say that about their side. Okay? Because bribes are intimidation. I'll let that side, okay?
But because there's integrity with one side.
Right.
How do we hold ourselves?
Okay, hold on.
I know.
Keep
going.
Okay, so then I start this business. I'm in pieces. I was convicted in 2012. It's 2020. I've been operating my business for 2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
TVU. I added Radio U just in January. Well, that tipped everything over. It's like, all of a sudden, all these artists that this, so-called arts community has been ignoring for decades, I pulled together in a local radio station. All of a sudden, it's gold. Okay. Mm. And these people within government organization and non-government organization and a society plot a scheme to come into Radio U and use their trust level and take all the content and then start their own radio station. And then while they're doing it, they launch a terror attack based in hate. It was a weaponized military grade cyber device that was delivered into and caused $20 million damage to my company. And you know what? The fear and the shame. When I realized there's all these things that Brandi is going to teach you, right? That help you stay in the present moment and move in these decisions. And when that
surfaces, what to do with it.
And then there it is. And then as I stood, the first part was reaction. When I just got after this guy that treated me bad, and I put this notice, right? And if anyone else, if this guy's knife has been in your back, get me. And I got inundated with people, right? And then this next thing came out, and then it was all at the same time. It was revealed. It was just a shock to me. Like I only really care about two things. I want to be interesting and helpful. This is the most valuable things to me. And I had interviewed almost 200 local people, businesses, social service agencies, and we were doing so much good.
Yeah.
Right? And these people put it to me. So what did I do? I sounded the alarm. And I went right after them, and I called them what they are in open public, right? And through all the social media.
All while never hiding what they were trying to do. Meaning they're saying, here's this criminal, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I did spend this time in jail. That's not what's being said here. It's deflection. They're deflecting, trying to change people's viewpoints. Here's my hate all over you. Take it.
Yeah. And I'm going to deliver it with a terror weapon. That's right. And they work for the government, and they work for the non-government organization. You know what? And I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not afraid of them.
It's interesting owning it and saying, this happened. It's true. It's just like me owning, it took me a long time to actually even say these words, but saying I'm the daughter of a convicted serial rapist took me 40 years to be able to say, took me 40 years to own that. And honestly, that is one of the most empowering, weirdly enough, empowering things, because I hid it with so much shame before. Just like you could have hid that incarceration with so much shame and then crumpled when this attack came through, right? When these people say these things.
But you know what?
Publicly.
In the last 8 years, I've been attacked every day. And up to recently crumbled every day. Horrible, vicious attacks.
You'll move past this stage even though, where it won't even faze you. They won't even get a response from you. And bullies, when they don't get responses, eventually just quit.
Here's the thing. There's let's say 3 million people in Alberta.
In Alberta, probably, yeah.
15% of the population have a criminal record. That's 450,000 people in Alberta have criminal records. And where I live in my community,
certainly not insignificant.
Here in my community where I live, there's 120,000 people. That's 18,000 people with criminal records. How many people under 18 have a criminal record? None. These are all voters.
Right. Well, and if they do have criminal records, you never see them anyway. So.
Well, they're not. They're juvenile.
Juvenile
notices,
they would be
or whatever.
Juvenile records, but those are just sealed anyways.
They're not criminal records. So when they say 15% of the population has a criminal record,
Adults, 18 and above, yes.
that's 18,000 people where I live. 18, did I calculate? Did I say two different numbers today? Either way, it's tens of thousands. Yeah. And you know what? It's everybody. It's doctors, lawyers, dentists, police officers.
God, so true.
Police officers have criminal records. Some of them do.
Yeah.
You know, they're grandmas, grandpas, moms and dads, aunts and uncles, children. Right?
They're the dirty little secrets no one wants to talk about.
No, they hold you in shame. They hold you in the lie.
So shameful.
Yes, own the fact that happened, but all those other lies do no longer apply. None, because there's never a full truth. Even when a person pleads guilty, there's never a full truth of the description of the event. There's a lot of lie on both sides. So let both sides of that lie go and walk free of shame, guilt, and fear. Fear it goes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Because fear really is all about the protective mind, and it keeps you in survival. You don't want that.
Now, is that what these people are doing? You know, I feel sorry for them. You know, people that are literally risking, life imprisonment for
what they're doing with you.
Yeah, is
crab
that
in the bucket?
Is that
crab in the bucket?
That's not their protective mind, though. Trying to get rid of me?
Sure, it is. Crab in the bucket. So I'm just going to keep pulling you back down to my level.
Are they experiencing a psychic breach? Are these people actual dangerous schizophrenics?
No, no. This is natural human behavior. It doesn't mean it's appropriate. It doesn't mean it's good.
Maybe we should ask that.
It's default behavior.
Yeah.
Think of it this way, always when we're looking at the two minds, right? You're looking at one that's creative and one that's actually propelling you forward and giving you a life of thriving, or you're sitting in your protective mind, which is a life of surviving. And this is where fear, it literally is fear triggering. So it's a looping of negative thoughts, it's doubt, it's resentment, it's all the low-grade emotions. All of them are linked to that. And if I can keep you here, I got some camaraderie. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about something. You are a threat to me. Therefore, I won't thrive. I just need to survive. This is crab in the bucket. I can't have you getting out. People will do this all the time and they don't even mean to do it. Some, this case with you, that is absolutely deliberate. Absolutely. But I mean, some people do this in the nicest, kindest ways and they think that they're being helpful, but they're not. They're just crabs in the bucket trying to pull you back down. Like, oh, Aunt Sue tried to do that and it was a complete disaster. Don't do that. They think they're being helpful instead of seeing beyond the fear or the just survival. And again, this is your default system. Always understand we have the default that hasn't evolved. The default will always sit there, and until you teach it, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. It will always drive your actions. Always. So these people who are doing this can't help but think, like, what are they holding on to that's keeping them at this level that they feel they need to stay at? Instead of
what I think? What more?
Instead of focusing on something that's going to help other people thrive or help them thrive.
They literally destroyed an unbelievably positive community project. So that makes me wonder, what other even more evil secrets are they hiding?
I think, what are they holding on to that makes them feel that they need to destroy things that are actually beneficial in the community?
Should I just get off the news guy for a second and get... Anyways, you know what I mean? It's...
See, there's some emotional charge here. Can you feel it?
What are you thinking? You attack a media outlet. Like, what do you think the media outlet's going to do?
Say something? Because that's what media does.
I can't even believe it. They are. You know what I think is they've been acting with impunity for so long and have been able to intimidate people with these anonymous emails for so long.
Right.
I guarantee you, when I drag these guys out into the light of day, people are going to say, this.
Hang on a second.
That's been terrorizing us. This.
But what you just said is so true. They've been doing it for so long. Like, an abuser doesn't recognize half the time that they're being abusive. The person that's constantly putting you down, but oh, it's just a joke. They don't understand that that's being abusive. They've been doing this forever. No one's corrected the bad behavior. No one's corrected it or brought it to light. People have been doing this for a long time because it's their default and hasn't been corrected, hasn't been taught. You haven't moved past it. You're still in it. Yes, and they will continue to do so until someone holds them accountable so that it changes. And sometimes being the person to hold them accountable is, like I said, for me, not freaking easy, because it's really uncomfortable. It's so unfamiliar for me to do this with someone. But I'm now at that point where I hold myself high enough and I know I have the strength to do it. So, you hold yourself high enough, James, and you know you have the strength to do it. And hang on, but there's still a little element with you that you're going to discover as you move through this. You're going to start to release the emotional ties right now, because there's still some here, and there's some stuff going on. But as you move through this, and we move through this, you and I, it will become easier and easier, and it won't feel like a burden. It won't feel like a challenge or something, a struggle, or it won't feel like that at all. It'll just feel like this is the right thing to do. Because that's where I got to. I was like, this isn't even about this thing over here anymore. It's really about holding this person accountable, because they will never, ever stop this if I don't. They'll never stop. And that means this is going to actually benefit so many other people that they would have done this with. Right?
Well,
someone needs to stand up. Can we all just be the people watching someone get beat on with our phones recording it? No, you need to stand up.
That's right. Now, when you said you have to raise yourself to the standard, my view, I view it in depth, right?
Okay.
I have to have the depth of standard. So maybe it's the same though. Like
it is.
If I realize that I have depth, I'm realizing that I have height. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we're seeing it in the same way. Now, in my notes, I went back to my notes as I've been, as we're going here. I had no lies, no fear. Yeah. Then I had bridge something, and then I had the I am after it. What were we talking about? Bridge? Was there a bridge in our discussion?
We're always bridging gaps, right? When we're moving from protective mind into ourselves, our authentic self, the one with the power, the one where you want to stand up and say, no, this is not okay. I'm not going to allow this anymore. Or the one where you don't take that abuse anymore. You don't take that person's gift, right? There is a bridge we need to cross. And part of it starts with the decision to stand. And it's scary. It's scary because it's unfamiliar to you. Your brain works from the familiar. And when you move out of the into the unfamiliar, you literally move out of survival. And that's scary because your brain doesn't function like that. Again, default. Keep falling back into the stupid default. Shouldn't say stupid. It's part of our evolution. But it's no longer practical.
But there is the addiction. There is the overeating.
Yeah.
There is the depression.
Yes.
Right? In that
it's going because you just get sucked back in until you teach yourself not to do that, until you learn how to let go of the fears and the guilt and shame the low grade emotions until you learn that.
As a man, what I realize, and I'm now on this super fitness thing.
Awesome journey.
I'm telling you, man, like it's looking like by the end of the summer, I will be capable of 40 kilometers a day. It sounds unbelievable, but I'm unless knees, ankles, whatever, I encounter, but food. I want to go back to food. And what I noticed,
perfect, because I was going to say, I'll tell you what will support knees, ankles, all that great stuff, so that you can do the 40, because that's how you want to push your body. First of all, your body will always go way further than you think it will. Always, always. And the Marines are a perfect example, and Navy SEALs are a perfect example in training of how far you can go beyond what you think. But if you want supports for stuff like that, seriously, everybody should be taking collagen anyways. Collagen is one of those things that really help with joints and bones and skin and all.
For the next show, can we talk, because we haven't got into any.
You want to talk about food? Oh,
we haven't
I
got
can
into
talk
any
about food,
of it.
Microbiome.
Yeah, but
things that'll keep you healthy.
Let's talk about it from a
physical standpoint. Food will heal you or hurt you.
Of releasing your inner millionaire, the power and the physical strength to release your inner millionaire.
Right. Unleash your inner millionaire. Unleash it. This is the new program that I am putting out, and I'm so excited about it. Oh my God. Because everyone has it in them, and it's time to unleash it. It's ready to charge forward. You want to make crazy money in your life. You do. You know why? People who have this hang up and idea around money too, about, well, I've just got enough. That's survival. When you're in thriving, you can do a ton of things with that money. You can choose what you want to do with that money. You can donate 75% of what you make because it's so gargantuous. You don't need it and you don't want it, but you want to help. You can. You have options that are not open to you when you're just surviving. Money is just a mindset. And every level you go to, from, your glass ceiling of, I can make 50,000, I can make 100,000, I can make 400,000, whatever your glass ceiling is, I can make $1 million. But when you get to the $1 million mark, that's a mindset. And then when you go from million to multi-million, that's another mindset. And when you go from that to billion, that's another mindset. It was an interesting coach I spoke to about billionaires. And he's in the midst of going from multi-million to billion. And he's got a billionaire who's been guiding him. And one of the most fascinating parts of the discussion was around the sale of his house. So he's got a multi-million-dollar house, really nice house, and the markets are crappy. And he's like, oh, I shouldn't sell now. I'm going to lose, blah, blah, blah. And the billionaire was telling him, he's like, you are losing out on opportunities holding on to this house. You don't see the opportunities you're losing out on because you're holding on to this house. I'm not saying sell things at a loss, but in this particular case, that was one of the discussions they had around things you don't see from that level until you reach the next one. So having a guide through these levels is really, really important, but also understanding that you're your own limiter, always.
And you know what? I just realized right now that, I've been a multimillionaire. You know what I mean? So I already have the multimillionaire mindset.
Yeah.
Fear, guilt, and shame, right? And
drag you back in,
and not knowing how to deal with it but I've got 30 Alberta markets for TV and radio, literally on the server.
Awesome? So awesome.
I'm turning them on. It's time.
It is time. It's time to be facing your public, facing those that your tribe, getting out there and doing something that is valuable to the community, is valuable to you, and that really gives you drive and purpose, because that's what lights us up and makes us happy, is what we are doing with ourselves and for others.
Coming up on future episodes of Fear It Goes with Brandi Taylor, we've got, what's the food stuff called again?
Microbiome. But
microbiome.
Actually, I created something around this called the Be Tailored Method.
The Be Tailored Method. I love it.
Yeah.
And the new Release Your Inner Millionaire. Only on Fear It Goes on TVU main channel. Bye now.
Bye.